Hello, everybody. Today we're going to be starting on the Dwarf for my brother's video game. Despite it being first person, he does want a full model, and it's going to be good practice for me, anyways. I think he wants some in game cutscenes, so I think it's good. The two images in the back are, of course, the two models. And, of course, this is going to be my first time making a character, really, on video. So, and if anybody wants to get into 3D modeling, as a rule of thumb, making characters is kind of the biggest trust the process situation ever because it looks like trash in my opinion until you actually get to the end. So if anybody's trying, it doesn't matter how bad it looks, never stop until you reach the end. So that's what this is kind of going to be. It's going to have thing. As a side note, I almost never make toes because the characters are gonna have boots on, and I just really couldn't be bothered to model toes onto a foot, which is common practice for video games mostly. But so I was kind of going. I've never modeled a dwarf before, so this is going to be new. And I wanted to put this on video. And I might be modeling some other stuff from Meet Your Doom as well as time progresses. And I'll have to ask my brother if I am allowed to do that, of course. Because technically speaking, I know he doesn't have any rights to this yet, but I'm going to treat it like it does. It is his video game. It's his world that he's created. It's his lore that he built. So I will only be doing anything as long as I have permission on it. So the dwarf might be the first thing you see in the modeling of Meet Your Doom. It might also be the last thing you all ever see in Meet Your Doom. We will have to figure it out later on. Now, as I create the basic block out of the model, which I will be shifting into sculpting later, sculpting will be most of the work, which will be a much longer video next time. And of course, there will also be, the remesh and just getting everything ready. And then, of course, the retropology, going to be making the rig for it. And, of course, this video will be coming out alongside another Brawl update in about 2 days, hopefully. Because I'm trying to shift into 2 times a week instead of just one. Help out the algorithm a little bit, maybe. And hopefully, I do get a lot better with my modeling skills. I have always struggled with faces. It's probably why I'm so proud of Brawl specifically, because Brawl doesn't really have a face. But I struggle with faces a lot, so hopefully I can get to a point, make this good. Now, some of the things I'm scared about for this model is hair. I don't know how to make hair. And that's a giant beard on him, so I'm thinking I'm just gonna have it be like models, like objects instead of VFX, because I feel like or maybe is that normal? Like I just don't really know. Like, and this is for everyone as well. I've watched an endless amount of tutorials for Blender, and that's good. Watch tutorials, learn how everything works, but I'm going to say it right now, tutorials are just not it for getting better at software like this. For making video games, for 3D modeling at all, just tutorials will only get you into the door. And it's up to you to make that last sprint, walk, whatever you want to call it. In my opinion, it's a cliff climb. Because the learning curve is awful. Right now, we're going to be going with a classic T-pose. A pose, T pose, it's the same thing, really. It's just a reference pose, just the default for modeling and stuff. And of course, the retropology will be done really well, specifically because once again, this is a video game model, which are it's different from the like a model that I'm going to be using for Blender animations. A rendering is something that you only have to render once, so they can be a lot more higher quality. Uh, and of course, there's not really like you're just feeding your GPU data really. But a video game model is something that your computer has to actively work with at all times in video games. One of the biggest causes of bad performance in video games is not only the optimization of the code, but the optimization of the models and textures. A really poorly made model will just tank your performance depending on how much polygons is on the model. One of my favorite models of all time is Olatreon from Monster Hunter Worlds, and that model is only 20,000 polygons, which blew my mind because Brawl is 36,000 polygons in total, and just the quality of Olatreon compared to Brawl is just, I mean, obviously they're really good modelers. It's just, but it really puts into perspective just how important retropology is, which is, for anyone not in the know, retropology is taking a high quality model and then wrapping it over with more bigger shapes to lower the quality. Now, I know that they of course bake textures onto it, which I will also be doing for the dwarf. And I guess I should be narrating as well, because I'm currently making the hand right now. And it's going to look a little bit weird, but I'm going to fix a lot of the shape in once I start sculpting. But back to the whole baking thing that I was explaining. You can bake high quality like detail onto a low quality mesh. So you can model something that has millions of polygons, and then you can slap all of that detail onto a low quality like a low polygon mesh to make it onto the GPU instead of the CPU, because the CPU is what takes in all those polygons, loads them in, other stuff. But if you can turn all of those details into of the high poly mesh into the low quality with a say low poly with the GPU, then, the GPU is much stronger at that specifically. So it works out a lot. And it's another reason why my brother is trying so hard with optimization, and it's why he's asking me to keep it down very hard. He's using Unreal Engine 5. And Unreal Engine 5 is not known for its optimization. There's a lot of features in it that just ruin everything. Nanite and a whole bunch of other stuff. But my brother is not only determined to hand code it, not just use the blueprints to use actual C++ code, but he also wants the models that I make to be good and ready for video games instead of just using the assets from the Unreal Engine store, which, if you don't know, are some of the most unoptimized models I have ever seen in my life. I remember seeing a barrel model with like 10,000 polygons on it on the Unreal Engine store, and it basically just blew my mind. Like, it's a free model and it looks good, of course, but, well, one 10,000 polygon model is not a big deal, but it's a barrel. You could have like maybe 25 of them in a location. That's just not good. But I am excited to model the rest of the dwarf here. And most of this video is going to be me just messing around with the hands. Hands, fingers, it's a lot. And if anybody has drawn on 2D will know that fingers are awful. Anybody who does 3D will know that fingers are awful. Did I mention that limbs are awful? Because they are. And of course, I will be hand rigging it. A little bit of me wanted to use Rigify for the Brawl model, since I'm just going to be making animations with it. But I just couldn't get it to work the way I wanted to, so I just said, why not? I'm just going to hand rig it. And hand rigging it is it's a good skill to have, especially because if you get used to how the bones interact with each other, you can basically rig anything. Because Rigify only really works with I think the only presets it really has is like quadruped and humanoid. But so that's why I want to get good at just doing it too, because I want to model a dragon. Dragons are cool. And of course, depending on how this goes, I will have to be modeling another thing for Meet Your Doom. Obviously, I'm modeling basically everything for that video game, which is good. In this series for the dwarf, you will be seeing me model him, texture him, rig him, make the animations for the video games, and I'm going to be slapping a giant great axe into his hand, which will always be fun. Meet Your Doom, of course, will be fast-paced slasher. That's first person. That's going to be roguelike, but it's going to have a fully fledged story, and it's supposed to lead up into my brother's second game in the series. Yeah. Basically, he wants to also have like combos for the dwarf, where if you input certain buttons in a string, it will do to certain stuff. And you know, I'm a fan of Devil May Cry as much as the next guy, so this will be fun. But right now, this is what the dwarf looks like at the end of the block out mostly. You could see it looks rough. Nothing like the images in the back, and that's just gonna have to come later. I just like to get the basic block out done, and then I like messing around with sculpting for the vast majority of the time. I have these videos set to 2x speed, but I have a feeling that the sculpting video is probably going to be on like 3x speed, and it's still going to be like 40 minutes long. I will try to keep it down, maybe split it up into 2 parts. What I might end up doing is that I'll have a sculpting video on just the head specifically, and then the other one will be the body, because obviously the most detail will be going into the head. A lot of the body will be covered in clothes. Obviously, he has armor on and other stuff. That's not to say that the body doesn't require detail. Always try to really think about what's going to be shown and what's not, as always. Because if it's not going to be shown, you should throw it away. But more specifically, the chest needs to be the correct shape and everything. And sometimes by detailing everything else, even if it's not shown, can help you make clothes and stuff. I'm applying all the modifiers now because I'm getting ready to join them up. Because what I'm about to do is a remesh. And the remesh will be the final part of this video. Before I get into the sculpting, because remesh is giving us more topology, and it's literally going to combine all the meshes I made, and it also completely destroys the topology, by the way. But that's fine because we're going to be retropologizing it anyways. So I'm just going to get those hands into place now as I prepare for the thing, the remesh. And I want to say once again, thank you for all following along on this journey as I blender my way into hopefully a real animation series, especially the Brawl animation. Every view means the world to me, always. Because I'm just showing people what I'm doing and what I'm capable of. Alright, let's remesh it up. So, We're gonna hit the button and um uh I want to thank you all for watching as always, and I hope you have a wonderful day.